Growing plants. Just like animals, plants also grow and multiply in number. You must be aware that seeds are required to grow a new plant. But did you know that new plants can also be grown from other parts like roots, stems and leaves? Plant growth from seeds. Seeds in plants are generally found inside the fruits. Seed structure. A gram seed is a typical example of seed. It has three main parts: embryo, cotyledons, and seed coat. Cotyledons. Cotyledons are the fleshy part of the seed that provide nourishment to the young plant until it is capable of manufacturing its own food. They are also known as seed leaves. Embryo. Embryo is the baby plant which grows into a seedling in the presence of favorable conditions. Seed. Seed coat is a protective covering around the seed and the embryo. It bursts open on absorbing water. Seed germination. Germination is the process by which a seed sprouts and develops into a new plant. Presence of air, water and sunlight is indispensable for a seed to germinate. Unavailability of any one or more of the given conditions would lead to the failure of germination. A seed in soil, when receives adequate amount of moisture, bursts open to release the embryo. It receives nourishment from the cotyledons for as long as it does not develop into a young plant. It receives air and sunlight from the atmosphere. Radicle is the first structure to emerge from the seed. It grows downward and develops into the root system of the plant. Roots absorb moisture and nutrients from the soil. In the presence of air from the atmosphere, plumule develops into the shoot system. The embryonic shoot system is called plumule. It grows upwards and forms stem, branches and leaves. The leaves grow above the ground. They make food for the plant in the presence of sunlight. Of all the seeds produced by the plants, only some of them successfully germinate and form young plants. To increase the viability of their seeds, plants have adopted certain features to help in seed dispersal by various mediums. Seed dispersal. The transportation of seeds away from their parent plant is called dispersal. There are various mediums for the dispersal of seeds. Wind. Seed dispersal by wind occurs in plants like dandelion and cottonweed. The seeds in such plants have wing-like structures or hair on them. They are also extremely lightweight. Water. Water acts as a medium of seed dispersal in plants like coconut and lotus. The seeds of these plants have fibrous or spongy structure to provide buoyancy for floating. It also prevents them from harsh environmental conditions. Animals. Seeds are also dispersed by the action of humans and animals. They eat fruits and throw away the seeds at random places. The seeds, which find suitable conditions, germinate. Birds and squirrel also consume fruits and pass out seeds as undigested waste material in their droppings. This also helps in their dispersal. Seeds of some plants like burdock cocklebur have surface modifications like hooks, barbs, sticky hair or bristles to help them in sticking to the fur on the body of animals. The animals in turn disperse them to far-off places. Explosion. In some plants like pea and gorse, seeds are dispersed by explosion. When the seeds mature, their pod dries up and bursts open. It discharges the seeds in all directions with force. Vegetative propagation. The method of growing new plants from parts other than seeds is known as vegetative propagation. Modified stems are the most common means of vegetative propagation in plants like potato, ginger and onion. These are underground stems which can grow into new plants if given favorable conditions. The eyes in potatoes are the buds that are capable of growing into a plant. Similarly, the roots, in case of carrot, sweet potato and dahlia, can be sown to generate a new plant. Bryophyllum is a plant that propagates through its leaves. Buds grow on the edge of leaves which fall off and grow into a new plant. Agriculture. The cultivation of soil to produce crops and raise livestock is known as agriculture. The plants grown on a large scale in agricultural fields are called crops. Usually, one type of crop is grown at a time. The piece of land on which the crops grow is called a farm. The person who practices agriculture as profession is called a farmer. The steps undertaken to perform agriculture. Ploughing. The soil to be cultivated is first prepared by loosening it up and bringing nutrient-rich layer to the surface. Ploughing also aerates the soil and allows easy penetration of roots for fixation. Fertilizing. Once the soil is ploughed, artificial fertilizers and manure are added to the soil to enhance the availability of nutrients to plants. This helps in increasing the yield. Sowing. Seeds that are sown must be healthy and disease-free to ensure a good produce. Care should be taken to plant them at a proper distance. Irrigation. The growing crops are watered by natural or artificial means. Agriculture in India is largely monsoon dependent. However, canals and tube wells have also gained importance as the means of artificial irrigation. Crop protection. The standing crops need to be protected against pests, insects and weeds. Weeds are the unwanted plants which hinder the growth of crops. They have to be removed manually. Pests and insects are the organisms which damage crops. Pesticides and insecticides are sprayed in a controlled manner to prevent them from spreading. Harvesting. Crops are collected from the fields when they are ripe. The process of cutting and collecting ripened crops is called harvesting. It marks the end of one cultivation cycle. Storage. The collected crops and stored in clean and dry conditions until they are used or sold. They need to be protected from rodents and insects. Terrace farming is the practice of growing crops on sloping lands cut down in the form of steps. It is common in the hilly regions. Cultivation of crops in India is divided into two main seasons. Kharif season lasts from July to October, in which crops like rice, maize, millets, pulses, etc. are grown. Rabi season falls between October and March and is suitable for growing wheat, barley, mustard, etc.